Blood does a lot more than most people realize. It's not just about carrying oxygen. It also transports nutrients, it removes waste, fights infections, and even helps regulate body temperature. But what's actually in it? When you put a drop under the microscope, you can see some of its most important components: red and white blood cells. In this video, I'll take a close look at these cells, what they do, and how they behave under different conditions. When you look at blood under the microscope, the first thing you notice are the red blood cells. They are by far the most numerous and appear as small round discs with a slight indentation in the middle. These cells make nearly half of the total volume of blood and are responsible for carrying oxygen throughout the body. Blood is mostly liquid, and this liquid part is called plasma. Plasma is a yellowish fluid made mostly of water, but it also contains proteins, hormones, nutrients, and waste products. Suspended in this plasma are the different types of blood cells. Red blood cells are packed with hemoglobin, which is the protein that binds to oxygen and gives blood its red color. There are about 5 million red blood cells per microliter of blood. That's a millionth of a liter, which gives you an idea of just how small they are. Since they don't have a nucleus, they are highly flexible, and that's an important feature because they have to squeeze through the very narrow capillaries. However, this also means that they can't divide or repair themselves. Instead, new ones are constantly being produced in the bone marrow from precursor cells called megakaryocytes. Incredibly, your body makes about 2 million red blood cells every second to replace the old ones, which only live for about 120 days. Once they've worn out, they're broken down in the spleen and the liver, where their components get recycled. If you let blood dry on a slide, red blood cells start stacking up like coins, and this is called rouleau formation. And under some conditions like dehydration, the red blood cells can lose water and take on a spiky appearance. These are known as echinocytes, or Burr cells. One interesting experiment I did was adding salt water to a blood sample. The red blood cells are very sensitive to the environment, and when placed in a high salt solution, they shrink and lose their normal shape. This is a process called plasmolysis. This happens because water moves out of the cells to balance the salt concentration. And on the other hand, if you put them in pure water, they absorb too much water and then burst. Now, these kinds of changes are important in medicine because they help explain why intravenous fluids, IV fluids, need to be carefully balanced to avoid damaging blood cells. Now let's talk about the white blood cells a little bit more. The footage you're seeing now is a time lapse because white blood cells move much more slowly in real time. Unlike red blood cells, which just flow passively with the blood, some white blood cells are actively moving. They can squeeze themselves out of the blood vessels and migrate towards sites of infection, following chemical signals released by bacteria or damaged cells. Some types of white blood cells chase down bacteria and engulf them. This process is called phagocytosis. Yet others help coordinate immune responses by producing signaling molecules and even antibodies. Under the microscope, white blood cells look quite different from the red blood cells. They are larger, and when stained with methylene blue, their nuclei become more visible. This helps distinguish between different types of white blood cells. Some have a single round nucleus, while others have lobed or irregularly shaped ones. By looking at these differences, scientists and doctors can identify the various types and understand them better. To get a closer look at the white blood cells in action, I put a sample of pus under the microscope and stained it. Pus is essentially a collection of dead and active white blood cells, along with bacteria and cellular debris. Under the microscope, almost everything you see is white blood cells. There are barely any red blood cells left. This makes sense because pus forms at infection sites where white blood cells have rushed in to fight off bacteria. Seeing this up close really shows how actively these cells are working in the immune system. Blood is an incredible substance, and looking at it under the microscope reveals just how complex it is. Every drop contains millions of cells. The way red blood cells transport oxygen, the way white blood cells move and fight infections, it's all happening inside our bodies every second, keeping us alive and healthy. Now, if you found this interesting, consider subscribing for more videos like this. Let me know in the comments if you've ever looked at blood under the microscope or if you have any questions. Thanks for watching, happy microbe hunting, and see you around in the next video. Bye bye.